Up in the night sky, our moon has always been there for us to gaze at. Or has it? Actually, there's a lot of ancient civilizations that have tales of a time when there was no moon in the sky. For all of us, one celestial body has been our constant companion. A silent guardian, a beacon in the darkness. It's almost impossible to imagine the night sky without the moon. It pulls at our oceans, it inspires our poets, it guides our calendars, it fills our nights with a gentle, silvery light. But it also creates much-needed stability to our planet. So what would it have been like before the moon was here to stabilize our atmosphere? We can look at the stories of when it wasn't always there. What if, for a time in our planet's distant past, the night sky was utterly and completely empty? Imagine a night devoid of that familiar glow. If you like subjects like this, please take a second to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have videos that cover many different topics. Long before we had telescopes or space probes, we had stories. And deep within the oldest mythologies of humankind, we find strange and persistent whispers of a time before the moon. The ancient Greeks, for example, spoke of the Arcadians. They believed this group inhabited the mountains of central Greece long before the gods brought the moon into the heavens. The philosopher Aristotle and the writer Plutarch both made reference to these proselyns, a name that literally means those who were before the moon. Travel to the continent of Africa and you will hear similar tales among the Zulu people of South Africa. Their oral traditions speak of a distant epoch when the moon was not present. The legends say the earth was shrouded in a constant veil of mist and that the sun was much dimmer. According to these stories, the moon was brought here by two brothers, Wawayne and Mpanku. Crossing the oceans to the Americas, the Muisca people of Colombia have traditions that speak of a time when the moon was not yet in the heavens. Their legends recount a period of great floods and darkness, ended when the creator god Bochica brought order and placed the moon in the sky to provide light and regulate the waters. These stories from vastly different cultures, separated by oceans and millennia, all point to the same incredible possibility, that our ancestors witnessed a world without a moon. Some suggest it is a fossil memory, others a metaphor for cataclysm or a shift in human consciousness. If these ancient myths hold a kernel of truth, what was our planet actually like before the moon arrived? Science can help us paint a picture. Without the moon's gravitational pull acting as a brake, the early Earth spun at a dizzying speed. A day might have lasted only 6 to 8 hours. This rapid rotation created a planet of extremes, hyper-caffeinated weather and unimaginable forces. Sustained wind speeds could have exceeded hundreds of miles per hour, whipping up storms that would dwarf today's hurricanes. Faster rotation generated immense Coriolis forces. Life, if it existed, would have needed to be incredibly resilient, clinging to existence in sheltered pockets, perhaps deep within the oceans or underground, perhaps deep within ocean vents or subterranean caves where conditions were relatively stable. Without the moon, there would be no significant tides as we know them. The sun exerts a small tidal force, far less powerful than the moon. Oceans would be less mixed. That would profoundly affect nutrient distribution and heat around the globe, potentially slowing marine diversification. The very tilt of our planet would have been unstable. The moon acts like a gyroscope, stabilizing Earth's axial tilt at about 23.5 degrees. Without it, tilt could vary wildly, from nearly zero seasons to extreme swings causing centuries-long climate upheavals. It would have been a world of profound instability, a difficult cradle for life. So if the moon wasn't always there, where did it come from? The clock turns back to roughly 4.5 billion years ago. Our solar system was chaotic and crowded. Earth, a young molten sphere called Gaia, had a traveling companion, Theia, a planetary body perhaps as large as Mars. For millions of years they danced a gravitational ballet until instabilities drew them inexorably closer. Imagine the final moments, Theia growing larger and larger until it dominated the heavens. Gravity had sealed their fate. Collision was inevitable. This was not a simple impact. It was planetary apocalypse. Theia struck at a glancing angle like a cosmic billiard shot. Both bodies liquefied, vast portions of mantle and crust vaporized. A colossal plume of molten rock and vapor blasted into space. A brilliant expanding ring of debris, glowing hotter than the surface of the sun, encircled our wounded planet. Within this disk, particles began to clump together. Dust grains, pebbles, rocks, massive boulders, accreting into moonlets. The moon formed quickly, perhaps within months or a year, initially molten and very close to Earth, enormous in the sky. Its gravitational pull created colossal tides, dragged on Earth's rotation. and over billions of years the system evolved into what we see today. The cloud of debris that encircled the Earth was not destined to remain a ring forever. Gravity, the great sculptor of the cosmos, went to work. Dust grains, pebbles, rocks, massive boulders. This process, accretion, happened remarkably fast. Computer simulations suggest that within a year, perhaps even months, the debris coalesced into a single large body, the proto-moon. Apollo rocks show isotopic compositions remarkably similar to Earth's, like chemical twins, suggesting a common origin. The impact would have ejected mantle material into orbit while the iron cores merged, explaining why the moon is poor in iron compared to Earth. Initially molten and close, the moon swept up debris, cleared its orbit, and then began the long dance of recession. Tidal forces transferred angular momentum. Earth's rotation slowed, days lengthened from approximately 6 hours toward 24, and the moon slowly receded. We measure the moon moving away even today, about 1.5 inches per year. The giant impact hypothesis provides a comprehensive narrative of destruction and creation that accounts for many observed facts about the moon and Earth. It is supported by physics, simulations, and geochemical data, our best current explanation. Yet, as with all scientific stories, details remain under refinement. While the giant impact hypothesis is the heavyweight champion, it is not the only contender. One early idea was the fission theory, championed by George Darwin. He proposed an early Earth spun so fast it flung off a blob of itself, which became the moon. A popular version suggested the Pacific Basin was the scar of that event. But physics doesn't quite allow a stable spin-off of a moon-sized chunk without catastrophic breakup. And orbital evidence, moon's 5 degrees tilt, doesn't fit this model well. The capture theory proposes the moon was a fully formed body born elsewhere that wandered too close and became captured by Earth's gravity. Capturing a large body is hard. It would require a huge loss of energy at just the right moment. Otherwise, it would collide or be flung away. Some suggest passing through a thick primordial atmosphere could dissipate energy, but that is considered highly improbable. Capture might explain compositional differences, but isotopic similarities and orbital mechanics favor giant impact. In science, competing ideas are tested and refined. The giant impact currently best fits the evidence, but alternatives shape the debate. Beyond mainstream science, far wilder stories exist. Beyond the halls of mainstream science, in the shadowy realms of conspiracy and speculation, lie far more exotic tales of the moon's origin. One persistent idea is the hollow moon theory. It posits the moon is not a natural solid body, but an artificial hollow structure. Proponents point to Apollo-era seismics. When Apollo 12 crashed its ascent stage, the moon rang like a bell for nearly an hour, offered as a smoking gun by some. Scientists explain this by the moon's dryness and fractured, blocky subsurface, which transmits seismic waves with little damping. In 1970, 2 Soviet scientists proposed the spaceship moon theory, that the moon was hollowed out by an advanced intelligence. They pointed to the moon's near-circular orbit and the uncanny apparent size equal to the sun, enabling perfect solar eclipses as evidence of design. But lunar rocks and decades of seismic and gravitational data point to a small solid core and thick mantle, not a hollow manufactured sphere. Still, the idea persists in internet forums and tabloids. It taps into a deep human hope that the universe is not empty. People imagine a silent watcher, a monument to a greater intelligence. Those stories satisfy a psychological hunger for meaning beyond random chance. The rabbit hole of lunar conspiracies goes even deeper. Some theorists propose the moon is actually an illusion. This hologram moon theory suggests what we see as a sophisticated projection rather than a physical object. Purposes vary: a shadow government, a powerful cabal, or a way to hide other orbital objects from view. Others take a metaphysical route. The moon as part of a simulated reality, cosmic scenery rendered for inhabitants. Returning to ancient engineering, some link the moon to a lost advanced human civilization, an Atlantis capable of building or towing a moon into place. Imagery of ancient ships hauling a celestial body, or of a moon engineered as a power source or climate regulator, is common in these accounts. Evidence is scant and subjective: shaky photos, ambiguous anomalies, and so-called glitches. Scientists rebut with rock samples, seismic records, and orbital mechanics. The data do not support manufactured moon claims, yet such theories endure because they provide narrative, purpose, and an antidote to cosmic randomness. Speculative variants imagine the moon as a spaceport, an energy generator, or a climate control machine, a character with secret history and hidden purpose. They mix myth, engineering fantasy, and mistrust of authority into potent modern myths. From the whispers of the Procelans to the complex models of the giant impact hypothesis and the wild speculations of a hollow, alien-built sphere, our relationship with the moon is, above all, a story. It is a story we have been telling ourselves since we first gained the consciousness to look up and wonder. The scientific quest to understand the moon's origin is a detective story on a cosmic scale, using physics, chemistry, and geology to reconstruct a crime 4.5 billion years old. The giant impact hypothesis is our best current explanation, but science is never static. New data can rewrite chapters. Future lunar missions and more powerful telescopes will add new chapters, refining and challenging our models. It is a testament to human curiosity and intellect. At the same time, myths and conspiracies persist because they fulfill different needs: wonder, meaning, and imagination. Whether a chunk of rock, a divine lamp, or a hollow observation post, the moon is many things at once: scientific object, mythological symbol, and source of endless speculation. It is our mirror, reflecting not just the sun's light but our own evolving consciousness. As long as it hangs in our sky, we will continue to tell stories about it, forever drawn to its light and enchanted by its mystery. What if? The question keeps us looking up. Thank you for watching and for supporting my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And, as always, stay informed.